All right, everybody. Finally got something new to talk about. I'm Jacob Turner, and joining us from the QC, Charlotte, North Carolina, it's our very own Andrew Jones. And AJ, you are in Charlotte, like I just mentioned, after Carolina's ACC Kickoff Media Day festivities officially come to an end. Obviously, an exciting week for the league, and an even more exciting day for North Carolina and North Carolina fans is got to talk to Bill Belichick, and also had 4 players there, which we'll move on to a little bit later on in this one, AJ. But there's only one place to start, I think. Saw it all over Twitter, all over social media. Increased security at the ACC kickoff. I've covered a fair share of ACC kickoffs. You've covered plenty of ACC kickoffs. I got to start off by asking you, was the vibe around this one a little bit different, especially with the Bill Belichick factor, finally making his first, I guess, public appearance at a setting like this?
I'm going to answer that with a question. Does the sun come up every day?
I think everybody knows the answer to that one.
It literally was the biggest circus I've ever seen. I think it's even for basketball. Back in the heyday in basketball, it was pretty wild, but this was on a different level. And what's amazing to me is I caught Belichick in different areas. They have a radio row here, they do. Then they have like a little TV thing they do. Then they have the one on the set for ACC Network. Then they have the big stage in the ballroom. And then we have a breakout room here. Ah, sweet, Jovius. Promotion here. Jovius and Julie, I know, I'm getting tongue-tied here. Joe Giglio have a beer here, and they gave it to me. So I shall take it home. I shall chill it, and I shall taste it.
You get a free pin as well, and do they give you a little pin to put on the chest too?
Jovius used to do a beer podcast a long time ago, so maybe I'll do one about his beer.
Yeah. Anyway, start beer testing you.
Yeah, no kidding. So, I also got a magnet.
I know, it looks sweet.
Some Giglio promotion show.
Man, it looks sweet.
So anyway, it was. Then they had the breakout room here, which is wild. I actually didn't even go into the main ballroom for the main press conference, which actually you don't get much from because it's short and it's the same people asking questions. They're the questions we've already heard in North Carolina 1,000 times already. So I staked out my spot where Belichick is in the breakout room. I had to sit through 20 minutes of Manny Diaz and then 30 minutes waiting in order to have that spot, but I got it and it was worth it. I got the first question I asked about Jordan Shipp, in which I got an answer that I thought I was going to get. He gave us some good stuff. You got to follow up with Bill to get a little info. Mm-hmm. He kind of goes into this, Wonder bread, white bread, whatever they call that.
Yeah.
I don't buy bread like that
keeps it very vanilla with his
very vanilla. But if you ask the follow up specifically for a little more, he gives it. And I've done that a couple of times now, and I did it today with Jordan Shipp, so that was some pretty good stuff. But it was a damn circus, man, as our buddy Brett Freelander would say. And he's not here because he retired, but it was an S show. But it was a cool S show because there were so many people just glued to every step he took. In fact, I was talking with somebody about the venture that we launch next week. And he's like, what's all that over there? We look over, there's like 25 TV cameras in a line waiting for Belichick to walk through and go sit down to do like ESPN interviews, Fox interviews, whatever they are. And it was, you don't see that. That's the kind of throng you see outside of a locker room in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. That's what it reminded me of. The day in between. Like you win the semifinals the night before. It's Sunday, the media availability, and the locker room's open for an hour, and it's a sea of media, sea of TV cameras. That's what it reminded me of. And, it's the big day. He's the story here. Clemson was here today. I talked to a Clemson writer. I said, whoever would have thought that Clemson's here, and it's not even the 5th story. North Carolina's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
I know. Yeah. It's so different. I was going to ask you how it compared to 2019 because I was there in 2019 when Max 2.0's first year, and it was a little bit of a buzz around. But from what I'm hearing from you, it doesn't sound like it even really compares. And I'm not trying to throw shade or anything or
actually,
compare. That's just first thing that kind of popped in my head. You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because some people were behind me that I didn't know until today, but they're younger, and I said, I just brought up. I said, in 2019, when Mac was here, it was a big contingent. I remember having to jostle my way to get up there. It's different now because for the coaches, they actually have rows of chairs. You remember before, you just get right up and you're almost in their face, and it was a madhouse. And thank goodness they didn't do that now. But it was a really large contingent for Mac. The irony is each year got smaller and smaller and smaller. With Belichick, we don't know how many of those years we will have in order to come here and talk to him. But I just put a video on Twitter where I just tried to just get as best I could, like 15 minutes ahead of time. The entire it's a smaller ballroom here. The entire thing was full, and there were people out in the hallway.
I believe it. I mean, there was definitely a buzz just on social media from someone like me who was kind of following on there, and obviously hearing from you guys in our text groups and everything. And again, I'm not surprised. I mean, you talk about this is kind of the first time that especially the national media, ACC media contingent, have had a chance to get up close and personal with Bill Belichick. So of course there's going to be that kind of contingent there. And yeah, I don't think that's a surprise for many people at all. Before we move on to some of the individual, maybe some interesting quotes, because again, you got to talk to the likes of Gio Lopez, Will Hardy, Jordan Shipp, and Thad Dixon, and obviously Bill Belichick as well in the breakout interviews. But what was the overall, besides a lot of excitement kind of from the outside focusing in on North Carolina, from Carolina and the group they brought, what was the vibe like amongst the players and Bill Belichick? Was it a kind of a feel-good factor? I mean, from some of the interviews I've heard, and there's some very interesting quotes and some very...
They always are feel-good.
Yeah, I mean, what was the vibe like around Carolina today?
Well, I didn't talk to any of the 4 players in the breakout room because they stayed there with Bill the whole time.
Yeah.
I need to get a feel for him. So we haven't had a lot of opportunities. So the more I have a chance to be around him, I want to be around him so I can get a vibe myself. Brian Balcom was here and talked to the 4 players. I did talk to Will Hardy when he finished. I just went up and said, you're one of Bill's kind of guys. Because, Will was kind of waffling and out of the starting lineup before, and we got him last month. We talked about this on a podcast previously. We got him last month in the Keenan Football Center. We got 4 players. 3 of them were here today. Will Hardy was here, Jordan Shipp, Thad Dixon, and Gio Lopez were here today. The first 3 we had last month in Chapel Hill. That tells you something. And so I didn't talk to those guys, but I did go up to Will afterward, and I said, you must be one of Bill's kind of guys. You strike me as the kind of guy that Bill just salivates over. And he kind of laughed and stuff, and I said, so what's it been like? He says, awesome. He said, this is football. And that's cool, because I think that's what North Carolina fans want to hear. There were a lot of good things with the MAC. Larry Fedora gave you 11-win season. Butch Davis built up excitement, and we know what happened after that. But football. Carolina fans want to hear that this is football.
Yeah.
And Will said that. So I'm going to go back and listen to player interviews and get some more stuff from that. But I thought that was interesting. I spent a minute at the most with Will when he was finished and got that. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, you get some of your best stuff at these kickoffs in moments like that, honestly. I mean, you can get some good stuff in the breakout room, obviously, but just kind of pulling guys to the side a little bit afterwards. That's when you can get really interesting tidbits. So
absolutely.
That's really insightful. I was
told, by the way, that Gio Lopez has been amazing.
Oh yeah.
That he's just embraced it all. And apparently he was asked some questions about the differences. And the first thing he said was, we don't have iPads at South Florida.
I'm not surprised by that. Yeah.
So whatever you saw from him there, that was with limited stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's different, man. It's different coming from South Alabama to a place like North Carolina for sure. But just so people know, the interviews will all be on our YouTube channel. All the players are available right now. You can go check those out. I actually listened to some of each, and I thought Gio Lopez was really impressive to listen to. But again, we'll
I'm going to listen to them when I drive home.
Yeah, you should. There's some good stuff in those interviews. I know you'll hone in on those later. But let's focus on Belichick, because again, you were there for his breakout room interview, and first and foremost, rough estimate how long his breakout session lasted, and just give us some of the most maybe interesting tidbits and insights you got from Bill today.
Well, around 25 minutes. Well, I asked him about Jordan Shipp. I said, we had Jordan, you guys made him available to us last month. He's here now. Can we infer that means that he is really made huge steps forward, and he's one of the guys? I'm paraphrasing my question. And he gave the vanilla answer, but I followed up and said, what have you seen from him? What popped out from him when you watch him, when you first saw him and see him now? that could lead to a breakthrough year. And he went and identified all of his skills. I mean, Bill's not a guy that's going to talk about he's the greatest ever all time like a lot of coaches do. You don't have that. There's not a lot of coach speak with him when it comes to plaudits of his own, which I find to be refreshing. Because how many times have we gone through in August and everybody's great, everybody's better, and then they go play 4 games. You're like, no, that guy's worse, or he's just the same. So I actually kind of like it this way. And it's probably good for fans too. You don't want to overblow guys because especially nowadays with all the social media, they go harder on them when they don't do well, especially with the money factor as well. So I liked his response to that. He was asked a really interesting question about teaching NFL schemes and all the isms from the way NFL franchises are run to college kids when there's less time. And he said, the question was, I try to paraphrase closely verbatim as I can. Are you trying to teach them, or are you trying to communicate to them some of those NFL things? He said, well, that's what we are. And it was funnier when he said it because the place started cracking up and it was a zinger. And basically he said, look, everything we do is NFL, from what they eat to sleep to literally everything they do is NFL. They know that they can't give them everything that NFL teams get as far as the playbook, as far as the depth of scheme, as far as how much time they can sit and spend on something specific about an opponent, where they go back and forth. Do we try to defend their strength, or do we attack their weakness? That kind of thing. But they can do a lot of it, and everything they do will be NFL driven. So it was a really good answer, and it was a double down answer on what he said before about the 33rd NFL team, he and Michael Lombardi. But he outlined it more. So I thought that was pretty good. So he gave me a little something on Jordan Shipp. He gave us something on the outlining his vision of an NFL franchise in college football. And there were some other things, too, that I thought were pretty good. Some of the questions were about, like Bill O'Brien at Boston College, who he worked with before, and things like that. Some questions that are good questions about the CFP, about the future of college football, but he can't answer them. He deferred all of them. He says, like, I haven't been around. And you'd ask Nick Saban, not me, that kind of thing. So he's very blunt, very straightforward. I think that he has shown through the 7 times I think I've been around him, he's shown a lot of respect to the questions. He doesn't scoff at it. He doesn't roll his eyes like a lot of coaches do. He doesn't talk down to the person. And there was one question he got about, what's it like going into players' living rooms for the first time? He says, well, I don't, because that's an NCAA violation. And the place started cracking up. So there's a little sense of humor there. We've been told that there's a lot of sense of humor, but it's within confinement, right? So I think that every time I'm around him, I feel a little bit better about how this may work out, to be honest with you. And I will say that about today. I thought it was a pretty solid day for him.
It's interesting what you said, because you are right. A lot of these media day festivities, and we always joke around, a lot of people do, about like, everybody's the greatest team in America, and everybody's going to win the national championship on July 24th. I mean, everybody's fantastic. That's just the vibe around these media days and stuff like that. So I think sometimes you go into these things, you're kind of trying to decipher, okay, like what part of this is coach speak? What part of this what things that he said can we kind of take away and read some into? But it sounds like today, especially coming from a guy like Bill Belichick, you don't get, like you've mentioned, a lot of those maybe coach speak things that you're used to. So it almost feels like you go into a setting like this with a coach like him, and you can maybe gauge more out of it than you can with a lot of other coaches around the country. Did you kind of feel like that today from talking to him, or is it still a little bit of like give and take? I
don't know if we can gauge more out of it, but I'm going to go the other way. We don't get as much crap. So I don't walk out of here thinking, boy, maybe this is Des Evans' breakthrough year, like I did a year ago. And I'm not speaking negatively about Des. I'm just using him as an example. So there's not fluff. And Belichick doesn't do coach speak. He does Belichick speak. And there was that today, and there's always going to be that. And that's why it was so important for me to stay with him the whole time, because the closer we get to the season, I've got to know the way he is and get a feel for him as best I can. And, I know how players are. Players come and go. A lot of them there's a range. There's this kind of guy, there's that kind of guy, and everything in between. This head coach is the polar opposite of the last one in terms of how he speaks about things. That last one was phenomenal. He was great in so many ways as far as communicating and off the record stuff and access and that kind of thing. It's going to be different here. So you have to learn to start working around it. And that's why I have to be around Bill every chance I can, because I got to start reading what he's saying. I got to start learning where those between the lines comments are, if they are there. And he might be so good at doing Bill Belichick that there are no lines to read between. And that's the case. That's the case. But I think if he says something real positive about a dude, then you take it to the bank.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to blow fluff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that definitely feels like what you get from Bill Belichick. I know you've talked about it a little bit, but just kind of summing everything up here, what is maybe your biggest takeaway from today? And I know, again, you predominantly talked to Bill Belichick. Bryant was over with the players, so didn't get as much from them. But what do you when you're driving back to home tonight? I mean, what are the biggest kind of maybe a couple big takeaways you're going to be kind of taking with you from again Bill Belichick's first appearance at ACC Kickoff?
North Carolina football is different right now because every college football fan who pays attention to any kind of sports reports today will know that he was there. He was here today, and know that there was an absolute zoo around him, a zoo like I've never seen. It doesn't even come close to what I've seen before.
Wow.
For one of these things. Tons of national media here. And a lot of them didn't even get questions in. It was that kind of situation. So North Carolina, a lot of people say, hey, they're now Colorado. Colorado was polarizing to a lot of people. And won right away, and it wasn't expected, and it generated all. Colorado built steam. Belichick has all that going in. Now, I don't think he's as polarizing. It could be down the road, but I don't think he is. I think how the Jordan Hudson stuff has tempered significantly. I think they've done a very nice job moving on from that. And there were no Jordan Hudson questions today, thank God.
Really, none?
None.
Wow.
The only Jordan question was mine about Jordan Shipp, Jordan, not Jordon. So when I said Jordan at first, I was hoping he wasn't thinking I was.
Yeah, if I give you that death stare, like, don't you do it.
Yeah, so I like the business mindset of North Carolina football right now, and when people talk about it, that's where they're going to go. Mm-hmm. Mac was great on the radio shows, really good at so many things pre-NIL, to be honest with you. He had a struggle there, and it wasn't entirely his fault. But this is different. People call him sir. People don't call Mac sir. The only coach I've heard anybody call sir before, 2 coaches, 3. I'll never forget, here I go off on a tangent. I'll never forget talking to John Thompson in 2007, the former Georgetown coach. In 2007, after like a press situation, and he was there, his son was a Georgetown coach at the time, played Carolina regional final in 2007. And the day before that game, there was a big media stuff, and he was out in the hallway, and a couple of us were talking to him. I wanted to talk to him I was writing a story about something, and someone came up, and it was an older member of the media. I didn't know who it was, and he referred to him as sir. I've heard Roy Williams referred to as sir. I've heard Mike Krzyzewski referred to as sir. And today I heard Bill Belichick referred to as sir. One of his former players asked a question, who's in the media now.
Oh, wow.
He even mentioned he used to catch passes from Bledsoe, and Belichick had the biggest smile of the day was when he saw him. You hear that he's sort of a player's coach because he's uplifting to them because it's all straight. Mm-hmm. It's all informative. There's no BS. There's no, hey man, we really need you. We really need you. We need you to. You're going to make some huge plays for us this year. That you're going to be in situations that you're going to determine our season or do the greatest thing and just stay with it. And you're going to be an NFL player when they know deep down they're not going to be. They're just trying to get the most out of that. They're squeezing that juice as much as they can at that moment. My understanding about Belichick is that it's almost like he's baking something. So instead of squeezing something, getting the juice immediately, he's baking something, and it takes time. Every ingredient is important. Every ingredient, is it paprika or is it cayenne pepper or whatever? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There are specifics to it, and there is an end game to it. And and just kind of hearing people talk about it. They're talking about North Carolina football in a totally different way. Now, a lot of it's curiosity. Nobody knows what they're going to be. I have no idea what they're going to be. But everybody says, but if he can coach in college, if he gets it, still has it, look out. That's the prevailing thought from media that covers other schools. I had to talk to at least 50 people in the media today. A lot of them want to know what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I told a lot of them. And it ultimately went to, what's Bill like?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, a few people asked what Mac was like. Nobody asked what Larry was like. People used to ask what Kay or Roy were like when I covered them. And I covered Kay before I was in the THI job. Everyone I talked to, what's Bill like?
Yeah, it's just such a different vibe going into the season. And and again, even earlier today, you had college football countdown, college game day, whatever you want to call it, announced that they're going to be there before the TCU game, Carolina season opener. So I throw that in to say it just feels like, if you're a Carolina fan watching this, it just feels like a pretty dang good day for Carolina football, and it feels like a pretty dang exciting time for Carolina football as well. When you look at what happened today, all the excitement around Belichick being there, the college game day stuff coming out in the afternoon, it's like, man, like you've talked about, the vibe and the excitement around the program right now is palpable. You can feel it. You can see it. It's tangibly out there. And again, who knows what's going to happen during the season? Anybody trying to predict what this team's going to be like, again, it's a certified guess at this point because of just all the newness there. But one thing is for sure is the national eyes, the eyeballs, and the attention is going to be on North Carolina this season, no matter how the season goes. And I think overall, you'd rather have that than going into a season where nobody really cares. You know what I mean? I think it's a positive all the way around.
If nothing happened, and again, this is no disrespect to Mac. It has nothing to do with how I feel about the job he did or anything like that. But knowing the fans, knowing the numbers of our stuff that we've done, if he was still the head coach, TCU game would be at 6 p.m. on the ACC network on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we would get 300 views on podcasts about football right now.
And they wouldn't have all the seats sold out.
At one time, the numbers were great with Mac. I mean, it just happens. Again, I'm not denigrating him at all. I'm just pointing out the reality of this right now. And what it is this, as this builds closer, and they start practice August 2nd, as it builds closer, the opportunity to me becomes bigger because helmets will be on in a week. And then shoulder pads will be on in the third day, and then full pads in the fifth day, and they're hitting. Mm-hmm. And they'll have a modified scrimmage probably on the eighth day. And they're into it. It's a professional operation. So as we get closer to kickoff, the greater the opportunity comes because it's real. He went out and recruited. He didn't leave that June 1st crap people keep talking about. He doesn't have his eye on NFL jobs. And he's not going to leave now and then take an NFL job after the first coach gets fired. He's in. Anchors have been thrown overboard. He's docked, and he's in. And because of that, the opportunity is huge. I have no idea how it's going to go. It could be an absolute disaster. Or it could be genius or something in between, which is typically what North Carolina football is.
Yeah.
In between.
Yeah. It's very intriguing, man. But I mean, I think everybody's leaving today. Like, man, ain't nothing left to do now but just play some football. So it's an exciting time.
It's such a huge opportunity. I'm thinking about it as you're asking the question. It's such a massive opportunity for this program.
Oh my God, yeah.
Bobby Bowden used to talk sleep a giant, and he wasn't BSing.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep a giant. People said it all along, but there were questions about commitment and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's there now. The opportunity is there.
Yeah, it's just we'll see what happens, man. Again, nothing left to do now but actually start playing some football. Like you mentioned, practices starting in about a week or so on August 2nd, and then things will be kind of full throttle up into the season opener against TCU. So, yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to the season. Stuff like this, I'm sure, AJ, you probably leaving today a little bit jazzed up, a little bit excited, get back in the flow a little bit. Man,
I finished my book yesterday.
Oh, you finished it?
I finished. I'm just doing some editing now.
Wow.
I finished it.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. And I'm very happy about that. So it worked out perfectly. So now I can do some of those edits and just really dive into football. And I'm very excited about it. Plus, I'm very excited about tasting the Ovius and Giglio beer that I will have probably tomorrow night. I'll give it a full. I'll give it a full day to chill.
Beer, man.
I don't know. I got one. I mean, this is great labeling.
Yeah, it looks great. It really does.
It's in some stores.
Yeah, I've seen it online before. Maybe I saw it.
If I find Joe on Twitter, and you can find out it's in some stores.
Yeah, no, I actually listen to their show quite often. They do a fantastic job, and obviously been around for a long time too. So yeah, it's a good podcast. You haven't listened to it, obviously listen to us first and then go listen to them. But it's a good podcast, but they do fantastic work. So yeah, man, I'm almost jealous I wasn't there today, because you kind of you see it on Twitter, you're like, man, I've been in those rooms a few times over the years. It is an exciting day, and I think it would have been even more of an exciting and intriguing day with all the media circus surrounding North Carolina football, which again, like you say, Clemson right over here, and Carolina football is getting all the attention.
The spectacle was the news. The spectacle was the news.
Yeah, 100%, man. And yeah, like I said, positive attention on Carolina, and we'll see what happens during the season. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I hear some people, it quieted down now, of course, but it looks like
this is the last table.
They're waiting on you. They're giving you the death stare right now. You need to get the heck out of there. So
I got the some ACC trophy thing in front of me right now.
No, do they?
I was trying to get some. I like to snag the signs.
I was about to ask you about that.
So I gotta find some signs.
Yeah, get you a sign or something, man.
See, they have boxes. There's a stack right over there. I'm gonna snag a sign.
Yeah, go take you a couple signs.
Don't tell Amy Yacola I snagged the sign.
And it's probably going to the trash anyway, I would think. But I think you can take that. I think you'll get away with that.
They save them. They gotta pinch the pennies, man.
It's all right. Go snag one of those, man. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure they'll forgive you for that. But don't tell anybody.
The SEC charges Radio Row for spots to do radio, and anybody that has a TV camera, they charge them for that too.
Really?
Yeah, like they don't have enough money.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and there's rumors circulating the ACC will do it again next year. Well, if that's the case, it'll be less of a zoo.
Yeah, it'd be like half the crowd there. Like we'll hold off on going to that one if we got to pay to set our camera up. That's insane. That's insane. I wouldn't believe it if somebody asked me like, "Hey, man, where's the $20 to be here?" I'd be like, I would laugh. I would think they were kidding. I'd be like, "Yeah, it's funny." Interesting.
I don't have to. All I have is a laptop and a phone. So
yeah, I think we'll get away with it. We're not carrying around huge cameras. But all right, man, I'm gonna let you run. You got to get back home, and I'm sure you got to get out of that table before they break it down while you're sitting here. So I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Appreciate you guys watching as always. As we keep saying, announcement coming soon. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that, and just follow us on all our social channels and subscribe on our YouTube channel as well. Like the video, get involved in the comments. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks.